Yo, what's up guys? So today we are gonna see, what if Naruto is the only male with chakra? Part 2, hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, Bearer of the Light, link is in the description, and also subscribe to my channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Some years have passed since Naruto started training in the ways of the Guardian. No more than a month has passed since the boy's 11th birthday. Many things had happened during these years. First of all, he wasn't under the care of the Uchiha or the Hyuga clans anymore. The Uchihas had suffered an incredible tragedy. Itachi Uchiha, a very famous shinobi, due to the fact that he was the only known male to be able to use chakra and inherit his clan's bloodline, the Sharingan, had killed the entire clan, except for his little sister Satsuki. This event made a mess in the girl's mind, and now she had a fierce hate for all men in general. While Mikoto, Satsuki's mother, had been supportive of Naruto, her father Fugaku was one of the more vocal protesters against Naruto, so the girl hadn't talked to Naruto too much before the massacre, so her hate extended to Naruto just for being a man. On the other hand, the relations in the Hyuga clan between the main house and the branch house had soured after an incident in which Hinata was almost kidnapped and resulted in the death of Hitomi, the twin sister of Hiromi, the head of the clan. While Hiromi was always serious and reserved, she always let Naruto and Hinata know that she worried about them, but since then she seemed cold and distant to Hinata, and while the girl and Naruto still got together, their meetings weren't as frequent as before. Also, Naruto had been told about the Kyuubi by the Hokage and Ragnar. The boy took it well after they explained what happened and why the beast was sealed in him, and he saw it as a boost to his training, so it wasn't that bad. After that, Ragnar tried to examine the seal on Naruto, but he couldn't make heads or tails of it, because it was a kanji seal, and he only knew how to work with rune seals. The Hokage gave Ragnar instructions about where he could start studying their seals, and also promised to contact one of her students to help Ragnar with it. Now Naruto could be seen wearing armor made of some kind of black steel. It covered his torso, arms, and legs, leaving no area down the neck exposed. On his head was a helm that covered all his head and the sides of his head, and had a piece covering his nose, leaving only his eyes, mouth, and throat exposed. On his left hand he was carrying a big shield made from the same material as his armor, and on his right hand he had a hammer with a thick wooden handle, and a head made from the same kind of steel. At the moment he was using the hammer to strike a training dummy, and was swinging it with no effort. Naruto-kun, come here, called Ragnar, the boy, making him stop and look at him. What's up, Ragnar-sensei? You see, Naruto-kun, on the last council meeting I was asked to attend, we talked about a few points concerning you and Kiba. As you may know from the talks you've may had with your friends, this is the last year before they graduate from the academy, and then they will officially become Kunoichis of Konoha. So it has been decided that you and Kiba will join them there during this last year, said Ragnar, surprising the boy. Why would I need to go to the ninja academy? It's not as if I will learn something, right? Responded the boy. Yes, you won't be able to learn about the use of chakra, but you have lots of other things to learn from there. For example, you might learn about the techniques commonly used by ninjas, how the ninja squads operate, the distinct types of weapons used by them, and lots of other things. Also, as both of you were supposed to be in a squad from the beginning, we want the girls to be used to the idea of working with males, so even if you know most of the girls there, try to make friends with them, okay? Explained Ragnar, making Naruto understand his point of view. That's alright, I guess. It can't be that bad, right? Famous last words by Namikaze Naruto. Yumi no Itsuko was a tan-skinned woman with brown hair tied in a high ponytail that wore the standard Konoha Chunin attire. She was currently in front of a class full of young girls that soon will become Kunoichis of Konoha. She smiled at them, but all of the girls were busy chatting and gossiping, so none of them noticed the arrival of the teacher. Girls, silence please, said the woman who was being ignored by all the girls in the room. She then coughed and cleared her throat to try and get their attention, but after a while of this she lost her patience. Can all of you shut the hell up and pay attention? Yelled the woman, making the room automatically go silent. Itsuko just cleared her throat and smiled again. Now I welcome you all to your last year at the academy. By the end of this year, hopefully you all will become proud Kunoichis of Konoha. Now before we get started, I have an important announcement to make. There's 2 people joining our class this year, and by the end of the year are going to be in a squad working with some of you. What? We have to stand this hellhole for all this time, and some random girls come by 1 year, and that's it? Asked Ino Yamanaka in protest. First of all, Ino, I resent the hellhole commentary. Second, you got that wrong. Please come inside, boys, said Itsuko, calling at someone at the door. Then 2 boys entered the classroom, and the girls' mouths opened in silent surprise. Naruto was still wearing his black steel armor, his shield and hammer nowhere to be seen along with his helm, and Kiba was pretty much wearing the same long-sleeve skin-tight black shirt and camouflage pants with a bandana on his head. The only difference was a navy blue utility vest he started wearing. Akamaru also was with him, but besides growing up a little bit, the puppy looked the same with his vest. Naruto-kun. Kiba-kun. What are you doing here? asked the girl, surprised to see her friends. The Ino are the two people I was talking about. They are going to be joining us, and at the end of the year they are going to be placed in a team with some of you, explained Itsuko, confusing some of the girls that didn't knew the boys. But they have no chakra. Naruto has this Mona thing, and Kiba has Psyche or whatever is called, said Ino, trying to discuss with the woman. Itsuko-sensei, may I? Asked Naruto in a polite tone, interrupting what the woman was going to say. Ino-chan, what I have is called mana, and Kiba has sight. But, as for why we are here, since we both are training to use this energies, Hokage Obichan has decided that we are going to join a team. And since we have no idea about ninja tactics or how you girls work, we were sent here to learn all that. If the Hokage thought it was a good idea to send males here, she must be going senile, said a black-haired girl that was wearing a blue jacket. Satsuki Uchiha. I will not tolerate any disrespect to Hokage-sama. I know is something new, but I have met the man that is training the boys, and I have worked with him in some missions. I don't know any of the skills the boys may have, but if Hokage-sama thought it was a good idea to send them here, it means that, at least, they are capable of keeping up with us, said Itsuko to the girl, who just looked uninterested to what the woman had to say. While this was going on, Naruto was examining the faces in the room, realizing that he knew a lot of the girls in the room. First he noticed in the back of the room a girl with short hair and lavender eyes known as Hinata Hyuga. The girl looked happy to see the boys, and Naruto waved at her. She smiled, and waved back with a blush. Next he noticed on the other row of seats a black-haired girl with a high ponytail, who looked like she was sleeping on her desk, accompanied by a robust brown-haired girl who was eating from a bag of chips. Naruto recognized them as Shimako Nar and Chiho Akimichi. He waved at Chiho, who waved back, and kept eating her chips happily. Shimako kept sleeping, unaware of what was happening. The row in front of them was another girl that Naruto recognized. She had short brown hair, and was wearing a pair of dark sunglasses with a high-collar jacket. She was Shiina Abiram. Naruto also waved at her, and she just raised a hand to respond to the greeting. Besides Ino and Satsuki, there was the last girl Naruto recognized. She had pink hair with a red bow, and was wearing a red dress. This girl was Sakura Haruno. She knew her because he was always under the care of the Yamanakas, and the girl was there with Ino. Naruto pretty much grew along with all these girls. Naruto didn't recognize any of the other girls in the room. I think the best way to settle this is with some demonstrations, so let's get outside and have some fun, okay everyone? Said Itsuko, leading all the classroom to the training grounds. Once outside, the woman had all the girls stand in a row at the edge of the field, while the boys stood in front of some targets. Okay boys, first, do you have any idea about throwing a shuriken or a kunai? Asked Itsuko to the boys. I have a set of throwing knives, and my mom has been teaching me a little, said Kiba, shrugging. I rather go up close when I fight, but Ragnall-sensei teach me how to throw my hammer. I guess I could give it a try, said Naruto, making the teacher sweat drop. Why don't you go first, Akiba-san? The boy took out some knives from one of the pockets of his vest, and threw them, hitting bullseye of really close to the center of the targets. Some of the girls gave a polite clap at the display. Very good, Kiba-san, the teacher praised the boy. Yeah, I'm awesome like that, said the boy, making the woman giggle a little. You next, Naruto-kun. Can I borrow some of your shurikens? It's not the kind of weapon I carry around, asked the boy, and Itsuko handed him some of the throwing weapons. Naruto aimed at the target, and launched a shuriken which hit on one of the outer circles of the target, but it made a hole on it, and kept going until the shuriken hit a tree behind the target, embedding itself on the trunk with a loud noise. This impressed a lot of the girls, and the teacher. Well, Naruto-kun, well, your aim isn't that good. I can't say anything about your throwing powers, said the woman, a little wide-eyed. Sorry about that, Itsuko-sensei, said Naruto, scratching his head a little embarrassed. Next would be the ninjutsu demonstration. I know you boys have no ninjutsu because you have no chakra, but I have been told that with your kind of energy, you can use some techniques that are like it. Mind giving us a demonstration? Asked the teacher, while the boys just nodded. They decided Kiba would go first. The boy walked to the middle of the training ground and extended his right hand. After a moment, a ball of red light formed in the palm of his hand. He bounced it in his hand a couple of times, and then threw it behind him where it bounced on the floor. Kiba only set fire in the hole, and the ball of light exploded in flames, blowing a chunk of the training ground floor. That was my frag grenade technique, good for demolitions and creating diversions, since I can control the amount of time it takes to detonate, said Kiba with a wide grin, while Naruto muttered show off at him. That's a real interesting technique you have there, Kiba-san. Now please, Naruto, go ahead, but try to not make something so messy, said Itsuko, while giving a look at Kiba, who just scratched his head in embarrassment. Don't worry, sensei, right now most of my techs are only for defensive use. To use them I am going to need Kiba's help, said Naruto, and Kiba looked at him suspiciously. Martyrism, called Naruto in an echoing voice, and Kiba was surrounded by a glowing light. Sensei, can you hit Kiba please? Asked Naruto, surprising the teacher. I can't do that, Naruto-kun. You don't worry, sensei, he will be alright. Even if you say that I'm a teacher, it will not be appropriate of me to be hitting my students outside of taijutsu practice. Naruto and Itsuko kept arguing for a while until she felt a pinch on her butt. She turned around, and on reflex went to slap Kiba, who had his hand still extended in a pinching motion. Just as her hand was about to hit his face, the light around him grew brighter, and her hand stopped. Confused, she turned around to look at Naruto, who was rubbing his right cheek that looked a little red. As you can see, Sensei, this tech allows me to cast an aura on an ally, and any damage that he takes will be transferred to me instead. Oh Naruto-kun, I'm so sorry, exclaimed the woman, who went and rubbed the boy's face and gave him a kiss on the cheek, making the boy blush and grin a bit. Don't worry Sensei, I'm going to get revenge on him with the next technique I'm going to show you. Oh no, you won't. I know what you are planning to do, and I'm not going to be your guinea pig again, said Kiba, backing away from Naruto. Come on Kiba, don't be a crybaby, said Naruto to the boy. After a while he managed to convince him, and then he did something that shocked the teacher and all the girls watching. Kiba took one of his throwing knives and stabbed his hand until the knife passed completely through it. The teacher ran at Kiba, looking at his hand and shouting at him. He just calmed her and told her to watch. Praise the sun, shouted Naruto in an echoing voice, and a bright light covered the training ground. Itsuko could only look amazed at Kiba's wound while it slowly closed until it finally healed, and his hand looked as if nothing happened. That's amazing Naruto-kun, the wound is completely healed, said the teacher in a disbelieving tone. That's my solar blessing tech. It not only heals me and any allies that are inside the light, it also weakens any enemy by draining their stamina. It still hurts like a bitch though, said Kiba, rubbing his hand. Language Kiba-sen, said the teacher, scolding the boy anyway. It's truly a useful technique for healing minor wounds. Minor wounds? You underestimate me, Sensei. How much more can it heal than Naruto-kun? A lot more, Sensei. Once Ragnar Sensei told me how his teammate was cut in half by a broadsword, and how he put the two pieces of his body together under the light, and after a few minutes his teammate was on his feet and fighting again. He says that, as long as the person is still alive, can be healed. Although it doesn't work with things that affect the insides like poisons, sickness or things like that, and I don't think my light is going to be that strong until I get my solarite armor trailed off Naruto. The woman looked at the boy wide-eyed, a little because of his gruesome example, and because of the repercussions of what he just had told her. With that skill alone, the boy is more valuable in the field than any medic ninja we have right now, thought the woman to herself. Well, I think we had enough demonstrations for today. Let's head back inside, and I'll tell you your schedules for this year. Also Kiba-san, you will help today in reconstructing the hole you made with your technique. It will be your detention for that pinch you gave me, said Itsuko, making Kiba curse under his breath, and Naruto showed him his tongue. Kiba just flipped him the bird when Itsuko had turned the other way. The academy is going to get more interesting this year, was the thought going around the heads of many of the girls that day. It was a long year for Naruto at the academy. While he liked a lot of the lessons in tactics and taijutsu, he got bored really easily in the history and ninjutsu lessons. He liked hearing about things like how to mix with the futon to make it stronger, but other things like the hand seals and chakra control lessons were all but useless to him. At least this year he had finally undergone the ritual of the Sun Guardians and was given his solarite armor. The ritual involved a clearing in the woods at midday and a lot of bloody runes painted in his body. At the end he had recited the Guardian's Oath, and a blinding light shone upon him. At his feet appeared a golden armor, shield, and hammer very much like the ones Ragnar uses. As a gift for becoming a guardian, Ragnar gave him a mantle to use with his armor. It was made of odd leather and had a burnt orange color. Right now he was in class wearing his armor in casual mode, as Ragnar called it. So he had the golden armor that covered half of his torso and the cape on his back. Under his armor he was wearing an orange t-shirt and black pants. He also had black combat boots and brown leather gloves. His arms could be seen and showed an impressive amount of muscle for someone his age. Over the years something like a fan club had formed around him because he treated the girls politely, had a good sense of humor, and for his strength. That most of the girls thought he was cute was just a bonus. Kiba, while not necessarily hated, was not the best dating material in the girls' opinion. While all of them, except Satsuki, loved to play with Akamaru, Kiba liked to flirt with the girls a little too strongly, and made them uncomfortable. More than once he got bopped in the head by Itsuko for this reason. Naruto-kun, why do you use a hammer instead of, I don't know, a sword or some other weapon? It's just that hammer looks so bulky and heavy, asked Ino, who was eating lunch with Shimeko and Chiho. That's the same question I asked Ragnar Sensei once. He told me that the hammer isn't only the weapon of choice of the Guardians, it's also a symbol. The hammer is either a tool to build or a weapon to destroy. The difference, it's only a matter of what we choose to do with it. The same applies with our powers. We must remember to use them to serve and protect our loved ones. That's a very noble way of thinking, Naruto-kun, said Chiho, making Naruto smile at her. So the graduation is soon. How are you feeling, girls? Asked Naruto to them. We only need to perform the Bunshin Jutsu, the Kourimi Jutsu, and the Henge Jutsu. I like it, it's nothing too troublesome, said Shimeko, making the other girls giggle a little bit at their friend. You're lucky you don't have to do the test, Naruto-kun said no to the boy. Hey, I still had to do all the written tests that you did, even the ones that had to do with chakra. So don't complain at me, said Naruto, pouting a little, making the girls laugh at him. I'm only wondering who our teammates are going to be, said Ino, and everyone started to think. I know half of the classroom wants to get in a team with you, or in your pants, said Shimako in a teasing tone, making the boy blush, and the girls just giggled at him. Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office, Ragnar was standing looking at the who were going to take on a team this year. First he looked at a woman that looked familiar. She was wearing a dress that looked like it was made of bandages. When he looked at her face, he remembered her. She had long black hair and red eyes. Her name was Kurenai, if he recalled correctly. Next to her stood a woman with short black hair and was wearing the standard jounin outfit, on her mouth a cigarette. After a few minutes and a swirl of leaves, another ninja entered the office. This woman was also wearing a standard outfit, but what caught Ragnell's the only feature that he could make about her was her silver hair that reached her shoulders. Hey, am I late? Asked the woman in a cheerful tone. Only by 5 minutes, which is a fucking miracle in your case, Kasumi, said the woman with the cigarette to Kasumi, who just shrugged. Asuka. Language, said Kurenai to the other woman, who just asked, but said nothing else. Well, I asked her to be here earlier to compensate, and it seems like it worked, said the Hokage to Kasumi, and she just closed her eyes, giving the impression that she was smiling. Now that we are all here, you may be wondering why Ragnar-san is here too. Most of you know that this year Naruto-kun and Kiba-kun are joining the Rooster, and will be placed in a squad. Ragnar-san is here to tell you a little about them. Thank you, Lady Hokage, said Ragnar, calling the attention of the women in the room. Now Kiba-san is pretty much like a ninja. He has high stealth and good close combat abilities. His gadgets, as he likes calling them, allows him to track people and neutralize areas. He also has skills that let him demolish and create diversions. On the other hand, Naruto-kun is resilient to most forms of physical attacks. His skills let him protect his whole team, while being able to disable the enemy. Also, he's pretty much immune to targeted, and we have worked out a way for him to detect areas, said Ragnar to the present. Back in the day when Ragnar had fought against Kurenai, and they discovered him being unaffected by her, they investigated more. They discovered that when they were used on males, the Kunoichis used the chakra to modify the brainwaves themselves. However, since Ragnar had a strong monocurrent circulating through him, it protected him from that. However, when it was casted in a location instead of directly at him, like when using a bunshin jutsu, his beholder eyes protected him. However, since Naruto didn't have that advantage, Ragnar taught him the detect tech. Basically, Naruto sent a wave of mana around him that told him where things were located, and if the wave was strong enough he could disrupt the area. So I recommend that Naruto-kun joins an assault team, while Kiba-kun joins an infiltration team, said Ragnar, ending his little speech. I agree that Naruto-kun should be placed in an assault squad. However, Ragnar-san, due to the difficulty of the missions that the infiltration teams have to take, we don't assign ninjas to that kind of squad until their age. So I think we should place Kiba in a tracking squad. What do you think of Ragnar-san? Asked the Hokage to Ragnar, who nodded ever so. Now that you have an idea about the skills of the boys, we shall discuss how the teams are going to be arranged. Naruto and Kiba were now seated in the academy in the middle of the classroom, waiting for Itsuko to end her speech. Some days ago the girls had passed their test, and received their forehead protectors with the symbol of Konoha. Most of the girls were gossiping about who was going to be in a team with either Naruto or Kiba. The boys had made a good impression on the girls, and Naruto was happy that he could say that he was friends with everyone, except for Satsuki. Whenever anyone talked to the girl, she just grunted, nodded or completely ignored the person. Unless it was Naruto, she snapped at him or responded rudely. Ino and Sakura had tried, and still were trying, to befriend the girl in hopes that she would eventually warm up and be friendly, but they were treated in the same way. Kiba hadn't even tried after seeing how the girl treated Naruto. After some more attempts made by Naruto, he managed to get a grunt or nod in response like everyone else, which was a victory in his book. Excited about this? Asked Kiba in a whisper, not wanting to be scolded by Itsuko. I just want to know who are going to be my teammates, responded Naruto, also whispering. You think we are going to be on the same team? I don't think so. You know I'm a frontline class, and you are more for stealth and stuff like that. I just don't want to be in a team with Satsuki. If we end up on the same team, she will probably kick me in the balls after a couple of hours, said Kiba, causing both of the boys to put a hand on their mouths to stifle their laughs. After a while, Itsuko finished her speech and started announcing the teams. A few moments later, Naruto heard a team with his name on it. Team 7, it's composed of Satsuki Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Naruto Namikaze, said Itsuko. While Naruto looked a little surprised at this, he looked at where Satsuki was seated a few rows in front of him. The girl looked like she was constipated, but other than a dark aura around her said nothing. Teammates shall be Hinata Hyuga, Shiina Abiram, and Kiba Inuzuka. Great Hinata is 100% Team Naruto, and Shiina has the personality of a rock, thought Kiba to himself. At least I'm not with Satsuki. Kami, have mercy on Naruto's soul. They could at least have put me with Ayumi-chan. He looked at a girl a few rows in front of him. The girl looked at him, and he winked at her. The girl just blushed and waved at him. Team 9 is still circulating, so Team 10 is composed of Ino Yamanaka, Shimeko Nar, and Chiho Akimichi. Your senseis will be here soon, so once again good luck and goodbye, said Itsuko while she and some girls exchanged goodbyes. And she left the classroom, leaving all the girls and the two boys to wait for their senseis. I expected you to put Satsuki-san with two girls on her team, Hokage-sama. You know better than no one else her position towards men in general, said Kasumi, surprised by the team she had to teach. Yes, Kasumi-san, I know of her condition, and that's exactly why I'm putting her in a team with Naruto. As for now, she only wants to get revenge against her brother. However, Naruto has this ability to make friends with anyone, so I'm hoping that making them work together will make Satsuki-san see that not all the men are like her brother, and will open her up. However, if time proves that the team is unstable, we shall rearrange them in different squads, explained the Hokage, while Kasumi only nodded. So you're in the same team as Satsuki? I can't say I envy you, man, said Kiba to Naruto, putting a hand on his shoulder. Naruto just looked at him with blank eyes, clearly not excited about that. Well, if I'm going to work with her, the least I can do is try to start with the right feet, said Naruto while standing, and went to the seat in front of where Satsuki was. The girl was still glaring at nothing in general, as if trying to make a hole in the chalkboard in front of the class with her eyes. What do you want? Asked Satsuki in a cold tone to the boy in front of her, glaring, and making Naruto flinch a little under her gaze. Satsuki-san, I'm not sure what made you so angry at me, but if you tell me, we could clear this misunderstanding and be friends. We are going to be teammates after all, said Naruto, while the girl just looked angrier and stood from her seat and got on Naruto's eye level. My problem is that boys like you should not be here trying to get on our level. They should be in a house learning how to cook and how to be a good husband. Not coming in here like if you had any right to get the power that we have. I assure you, Satsuki-san, that my only intention is to help you all protect this village like my parents did, and, as you have seen many times during my time on this academy, I'm more than capable of holding my own, even if I'm a man, as you say. I hope for your own good that you don't hold me back, said Satsuki, almost growling at Naruto, who just stood in front of her looking into her eyes, not backing from her. It was at that moment that one of the girls chose to walk behind Satsuki, unknowingly pushing her, making her trip forward, right into Naruto's face. Most of the people in the class that were listening to the conversation saw the accidental kiss and could only watch in silent shock as this happened, except Kiba. He had both of his hands on his mouth trying to cover his laughter and failing miserably. For a moment Naruto just went wide-eyed and stiffed, unable to do anything because of the shock. Satsuki on the other hand was flailing, desperately trying to regain her balance. Then she put both hands on Naruto's chest, trying to push him away. She didn't move him, but managed to move herself away from him, and she just sat on her chair where she was blushing, as red as a tomato, and her eyes were watering a little. After what felt like hours in Naruto's mind, he managed to regain control of his body. Satsuki-senai, not a word Namikaze, or I will murder you, said the girl, looking to the floor in a tone that promised death to the boy should he open his mouth again. Naruto said nothing, as he stiffly turned around and returned to his seat next to Kiba, who was giggling a bit at his friend misfortune. Man, Naruto, I didn't know you had it in you, said Kiba, smirking at Naruto, who looked like he was given a death sentence. I'm so fucking dead, aren't I? Asked Naruto, making Kiba laugh once again. About 10 minutes later the classroom was still silent. The tension in the air was so thick that you could cut it with a knife. Satsuki was still looking at the ground, emitting a murderous aura, then started arriving and taking some of the girls with them. After a while the only ones left in the room were Naruto, Sakura, and Satsuki. Kiba's sensei, a woman with black hair and red eyes that was very beautiful in Naruto's opinion, had already arrived and took them out of the classroom, making Sakura go and sit beside Naruto, refusing to sit near Satsuki while she was in that mood. Some time has passed since the last one came, and they were getting impatient. Is our sensei still coming? Asked Naruto to Sakura in a whisper, not wanting to angry Satsuki anymore. I don't know, she was supposed to be here like an hour ago, responded the girl, and Naruto could only sigh at her answer. In other circumstances Naruto would have prepared a prank to their sensei, but that involved passing in front of the seat where Satsuki was, and that wasn't an option at the moment. He liked being alive, thank you very much. Hi. Are you guys Team 7? Asked a lazy voice from the door, catching the attention of the trio in the classroom. Kasumi-san, are you our Jounin sensei? Asked Naruto to the woman who just nodded at them. Well, please follow me to the rooftop where we will introduce ourselves, said the woman who just disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Do you know her, Naruto-kun? Asked Sakura to the boy who nodded. Yeah, we've met a couple of times before. She was in a team under my mother and knew my parents, and she has told me a lot of things about them, said Naruto to Sakura, who just nodded. So now that we're here we should start with an introduction. My name is Kasumi Haddock. I like many things and dislike others. You're too young to know my hobbies, and I have a couple of dreams for my future. Now please go ahead, you with the pink hair, said the woman while the trio just sweat dropped. All we learned was her name was the thought on the minds of the three. Alright. My name is Sakura Haruno. I like reading and learning new things. I dislike food that can make me fat and perverts. I can't say I have a dream for my future right now. Okay, smiles you're next, said Kasumi while pointing at Satsuki. The girl just glared at her. I'm Satsuki Uchiha. I like nothing, and dislike a lot of things, mainly men, and especially Naruto, said the girl, sending a glare in the direction of said boy, who flinched and looked away. My only ambition is to get revenge for my clan. Last but not least, said Kasumi while pointing at Naruto. My name is Studmeister. I like the feminine shape and all the fine ladies. I dislike when a woman rejects me, and my dream for the future is to have my own harem with women that I can have smexy love with, said Naruto with a completely straight face. Hearing this, Sakura covered her face, blushing, scandalized of what she heard. You filthy pig. What the hell do you think you're saying, said Satsuki while repeatedly slapping Naruto's face. After a while they calmed down, and Naruto had his face just a little red because of the hits. Even I can see I deserve that one, said the boy, and both of the girls just sent a dirty glare at him. Hey, it was just a little joke, cue more glaring. Now Naruto, if you could please introduce yourself properly, said Kasumi, sighing at the boy's antics. My name is Naruto Namikaze. I like training and spending time with my friends. I dislike when people judge others without knowing them. My dream of the future is to become a strong warrior to protect this village, as my parents did before me, said the boy, at which Kasumi and Sakura could only smile. Satsuki huffed, but said nothing otherwise. Okay, now that we have introduced ourselves properly, said Kasumi while sending a look in Naruto's direction while he scratched the back of his head. The only thing left is for you to prepare for your test tomorrow. But Sensei, we already had our test, said Sakura to the woman who did her ice smile thing. Yes, you took the academy test. That one was to see if you had the necessary skills to become a kunoichi. However, this other test is assigned by each to their team to see if they're worth their time. So I'll see you tomorrow at training ground 3 at 7 AM. Also, I advise against eating. You might puke it all after it. See ya, said the woman, and disappeared in a swirl of leaves, leaving the trio wide-eyed, wondering what the woman was going to do with them the next day. At a very early hour of the morning we see Naruto heading to training ground 3. As he got nearer he could see a figure standing in the clearing. As he got closer he recognized the figure as her teammate Sakura. After they exchanged greetings they waited for a while until Satsuki arrived. She said nothing, and went to stand near a tree close to them. After that they waited, and waited, and waited. It's 9 o'clock already, Sensei said to be here at 7, didn't she? Asked Sakura, at which Naruto nodded. After a few moments only the groaning of Sakura's stomach was heard. Did you eat breakfast, Sakura-chan? Asked Naruto, concerned about his teammate. Sensei said not to, so I didn't. Had I known she was going to be this late, said the girl, looking a little depressed. Don't worry, Sakura-chan. Here, said Naruto, putting a hand over his other gloved hand, and after some sparks of light he had an apple on each hand. He offered one to the girl, who took it gratefully. Satsuki-san, did you have any breakfast? Asked the boy, extending his other hand with an apple to the other girl, who just huffed and looked away, as if offended by the fruit. At that moment the stomach of the girl gave an angry groan, letting Naruto know the answer of his question. The black-haired girl, with a face red from embarrassment, walked towards Naruto, refusing to meet his eyes, took the apple from his hand, and returned to her position under the tree where she started eating it, looking downwards, refusing to look at her teammates. Sakura giggled a little, and Naruto just sweat-dropped. Aren't you going to eat anything, Naruto-kun? Asked Sakura, and Naruto gave a shake of his head. Nope, I ate before coming. After a few hammers and a couple of kicks in the gut, I found myself losing my breakfast a couple of times before, but after a while I managed to hold it pretty well, so I figured I could do it today too, said the boy, and Sakura just nodded at him, wondering what kind of training Naruto had. It was not until another hour after that Kasumi showed up. Hey, what's up? Said the woman in a lazy tone, raising a hand to greet them. The teens looked ready for murder. You're late, was the scream of Naruto and Sakura. Satsuki looked ready to jump the woman and stab with the kunai. I'm sorry, there was this cute little kitten that was hanging on a branch of a tree, and I had to help it, but then I noticed it was a black cat, so I had to turn around and take the long route so that I didn't have bad luck, and then I got lost in the road of life, explained Kasumi, and the teens just looked at her, wondering what the hell she just had said. I may have to remember that one. That's the best excuse I've ever heard, said Naruto, and Sakura looked at him incredulously. Naruto, that has to be the lamest and the most fake excuse I've heard in my life. Naruto just shrugged at her. Well, anyway, I have to tell you first, this test has a 33% success rate. Do you still want to go ahead? Asked Kasumi, but none of the teens backed away. Okay, so this is the test, said Kasumi, and took something out of one of her pockets. 2 bells for this test. You will need to take these bells from me, she said, while tying the bells on her hip. After this timer rings, whoever doesn't have a bell fails, and must return to the academy. She took out said timer from another pocket, and set it on a cut log near the edge of the training ground. But Sensei, there's only 2 bells. We are 3, said Sakura, and the woman just nodded at her. That means one of you is going to go back to the academy, said Kasumi, surprising the 3 now. If you want a chance of passing, you have to come at me with the intent to kill. Begin. Satsuki and Sakura immediately jumped at the trees, hiding themselves. Naruto just stood in front of the woman, who took a pink book out from the pocket of her vest and started reading. Aren't you going to hide and make a plan for Naruto-kun? asked the woman disinterested in the boy. Well, it doesn't make any sense to go hide if I'm going to reveal myself doing this armor change tech. Power armor, said Naruto with an echoing voice. He had arrived in his casual armor, but as the bright light that had surrounded him vanished, his look changed completely. The golden armor now covered his chest, legs, and arms, but Kasumi noticed some differences from the assault armor that the boy's sensei had used against her so much time ago. First, the armor on the legs and hand of the boy looked much more bulky than the armor on his chest, which looked normal. The symbols that were all over the man's armor were located only on Naruto's forearms. Also, Ragnell had no armor whatsoever on his head, and the boy had some kind of weird forehead protector. It looked like a big tiara in Kasumi's opinion. He also had his orange cape still on him. Now I'm ready, Kasumi-sensei, said Naruto, grabbing his golden shield with the Konoha symbol on his left and twirling his hammer on his right. The woman said nothing and kept reading her book. Not one to miss a chance, Naruto jumped at her, swinging his hammer. Kasumi just dodged the boy's attacks without even looking away from her book, frustrating Naruto a bit. After a while of this, Naruto extended his hammer, pointing at the woman. Stay put, said Naruto with an echoing voice. Then he ran and tried to hit her with his hammer again. Kasumi had a sense of familiarity as she saw that she couldn't move her feet. Naruto started looking around, seeing that he had hit a log with his hammer. Looking at his back, he saw the woman standing there and threw his hammer at her, which she dodged easily. A heavy feeling of deja vu hit Kasumi. Mjolnir's blessing. Blink, yelled the boy, and with a crack of thunder appeared standing over his hammer, which he quickly picked up and used to swing at Kasumi. The woman had jumped away as soon as she heard sound of the blink. Very good, Naruto-kun. Had your sensei not used the very same technique against me some time ago, you would have caught me off guard. Now I have other matters to attend, said Kasumi, going through Hans Sealshüten. The Toppa called the woman, releasing a burst of wind, catching Naruto off guard and sending him flying away from the clearing. Now to find the girls, said Kasumi, casually walking away from the clearing. Kasumi found Sakura in one of the trees. She silently climbed the tree with her chakra and got on her back without the girl noticing. Hey girl, what you doing, whispered Kasumi in the girl's ear, causing her to scream and fall off the branch, face planting on the ground. After Kasumi checked that the girl wasn't really hurt, she was just knocked out cold from the fall. Well, that was easy, said the woman, walking away looking for the remaining girl. She found Satsuki in another clearing in the training ground, seemingly waiting for the woman to come after her. Hey Satsuki-chan, waiting for me? Asked the woman in a lazy tone. The girl said nothing and took out 3 shurikens from her pouch and threw them at the woman, who blocked the projectiles with a kunai. Taking the opportunity, Satsuki launched herself, engaging Kasumi into jutsu. While she was fast, it was nothing that the woman couldn't handle. Satsuki feinted a punch, and when Kasumi went to dodge, she tried to snatch one of the bells from the woman. Kasumi saw the move and dodged in time while Satsuki cursed at herself. She had been very close. The girl then leaped away to get some distance and went through Hans Seals. Kaden. Kakyu no Jutsu, called Satsuki, releasing a big bowl of fire from her mouth. Kasumi looked impressed at this and went through Hans Seals. Satsuki looked at the place where her technique had impacted, but found nothing but scorched dirt. She started looking around for her sensei and felt something pulling her leg. Doten. Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, called a voice from under Satsuki. She looked at her feet and saw that an arm was wrapped around her leg. Next thing she knew was that her body was buried underground and only her head was above ground level. I admit I'm somewhat impressed, but it was very foolish of you to come at me alone, Satsuki-chan, said the woman, walking away once again reading her little pink book. Naruto was walking around the training ground, a blue orb pulsing in the ground around him, trying to find someone when he found the unmoving body of Sakura on the ground. The boy concerned ran at her and checked if she was okay, giving a sigh of relief after seeing she was only unconscious. After casting the solar blessing and giving her a couple of gentle slaps to wake her up, the girl reacted. Naruto-kun, what happened? Asked the girl, confused. I don't know. After I fought Kasumi-sensei, I started walking around to find you guys, then I found you unconscious on the ground. Do you remember anything that happened to you? I just remember that I was hiding in that tree trying to come up with a plan, and then I trailed off the girl, and Naruto looked as she got really red in the face. I don't remember anything. We should go and search for Satsuki-chan, said the girl, trying to change the topic, embarrassed of herself for letting her sensei scare her and knock herself out. After a while of walking, Sakura looked at something on the ground in a clearing in front of her. Satsuki-chan, yelled the girl, looking terrified at the disembodied head of her other teammate. Don't worry, Sakura-chan, by the way she's glaring at me, I say that she's okay. Hey Satsuki-chan, rooting for someone? Asked Naruto, grinning at his own joke, while Satsuki tried to make the boy burst into flames with her eyes. Another word, Namikaze, and I will castrate you with a rusty kunai, said the buried girl in a low tone, making Naruto's grin wider. Oh, but Satsuki-chan, you should smile a little. If you do, you may turn into a pretty flower. Naruto crouched in front of her and pinched her cheek, making the girl growl in rage. I will murder you when I get out of here. screamed Satsuki, and Naruto just smiled innocently. Now Satsuki-chan, we're here to help you, as we need your help to fight Sensei, said Naruto, making Satsuki huff annoyed. I don't need the help of a man, I will get out of here, and get those bells myself. Please think about it rationally, Satsuki-chan. Ragnar-sensei always told me how the ninja squads work in teams of 3, and Kasumi-sensei wants to divide us by telling us that only 2 of us can pass. The only good chance we have at passing this test is to work together, and if bad comes to worse, I will take the shot, and you, and Sakura-chan will pass. Now please let us help you to help us, said the boy, and Satsuki just grunted, but said nothing else. Taking the sound, as approval, Naruto and Sakura started digging out the buried Satsuki. It has been some time since Kasumi saw one of the kids, and was wondering if they gave up. She was sitting near the timer, and looked like their time was about to run out. Then she noticed that Naruto had entered the clearing, and stood in front of her. Thought you could get rid of me so easily, Sensei? Asked the boy in a challenging tone, causing Kasumi to stand up and close her book. Naruto, without missing time, launched himself at the woman, trying to hit her with his hammer. After trying a couple of times, he leaped back and raised his hammer, pointing at the sky. Shine so bright, called Naruto with an echoing voice, Kasumi on guard, not knowing what to expect from the attack. Naruto's armor took a bright glow, and then a flash of light blinded Kasumi. Sakura now, yelled Naruto at the girl hiding in the trees, who launched a kunai at where Kasumi had the bells tied. Kasumi knew that some kind of attack was coming towards her, so she went to dodge. At that moment, Satsuki jumped from one of the bushes and went directly to snatch the bell off the woman. Kasumi had recovered some of her vision and saw a blurry black object come towards her, and she backhanded it. The blow hit Satsuki in the face, sending her away from the woman. The 3 teens got in position to try another attack, but at that moment the timer went off, signaling the end of the test. Well, it seems like time's over, guys, said Kasumi, looking at the 3, who looked disappointed. Even if you failed to get the bells from me, it looks like you figured the point of this exercise. It was meant to make us work together, even when you tried to separate us, said Sakura, and Kasumi nodded happily. Yes, the key to this test was to promote teamwork between you all, and you guys could figure it out. There are times in a mission where it looks like you need to abandon a comrade to complete a mission, but you must remember something. Those who break the rules are called trash by the people, but those who abandon their friends are worse than trash, said Kasumi, giving a moment of silence to let what she had said seep into the 3 kids. Well, originally I had planned to tie one of you to a pole, while I gave lunch to the others, if you didn't manage to get the message, but it seems like it wouldn't be necessary. Congratulations, Team 7, you passed, said Kasumi to the 3. Naruto and Sakura cheered loudly, while Satsuki crossed her arms with a satisfied expression on her face. Kasumi looked happily at her team, wondering what kind of adventures and challenges were ahead of them. During the morning, Sakura, Satsuki, and Naruto went to the training grounds to wait for Kasumi to show up. After 1 or 2 hours, depending on Kasumi's mood, she showed up and had them work on their physical shape, teamwork, and various tactics that they could use together on the field. After their morning routines, if Kasumi wanted to work with the girls in something related to Chakra, Naruto would just sit near them looking at them. Or if Ragnar wasn't on a mission, he trained with him, learning more about the runes on him, or things about his armor and hammer. After that, in the afternoons, they went to get a mission. The term mission was very inaccurate in Naruto's opinion. The first time that Kasumi told them they were going to get a mission, he was very excited, as Ragnar had told him tales of the missions he had to do in Rune Midgard. He told him tales of how he and his team had to go to caverns full of orcs and end their rebellion and rescue kidnapped people. He told him how he had to climb a mountain to fight against a horde of harpies that had stolen a sacred artifact. After all of this, he wondered if his first mission was going to be something like that. Disappointment didn't even begin to describe what he felt when he got his D-ranked mission. Helping a farmer clear his fields could really be called a mission. Nonetheless, the boy liked the pocket money that those missions gave him. Kasumi and Sakura learned really quickly that Naruto had a really gentle attitude, and that whenever a mission required moving heavy stuff, they could just bat their eyelashes at him, and the boy did it without protesting. Satsuki, not wanting to be outdone by a man, worked very hard, and while it was obvious that Naruto was physically stronger than her, she refused to give up. Because of this, those kinds of jobs were finished really fast. The relationships between the 3 had been improving. In the mornings, while they waited for their sensei, Naruto and Sakura had started to talk and learn things about each other. They had tried to include Satsuki in their conversations, but the girl just was silent or ignored them completely. At least she no longer looked at Naruto like she wanted to murder him most of the time. Now we see Sakura and Satsuki walking in front of Naruto and Kasumi. Naruto, in his casual armor, was holding a struggling cat in his arms, and Kasumi was scolding the boy. It doesn't matter that it worked, it's still risky to do that kind of thing in Naruto-kun. That cat belongs to the daimyo's wife, and if something had happened to it, we could have had a lot of problems. I already told you many times, Sensei, my solar flare tech is completely harmless. It held the thing in place long enough for us to catch it, and look at it, still fighting to escape, said Naruto, while moving his head to the side to dodge a swipe from the cat's claws. The girls had decided that since Naruto was the only one wearing armor, and since the cat was rather dangerous, he should be the one that carried it. Outvoted, the boy said nothing, and took the burden. Even then, Naruto-kun, you should tell me if you are going to do things like that, said Kasumi, making the boy nod absent-mindedly, while he tried to keep the cat under control. Once they reached the Hokage's tower, they went to the woman's office where she was along with Itsuko, and the fire daimyo's wife. Once she relieved Naruto of the pat, she paid for the mission, and left the office. Good work, Team 7. Now would you like to take another mission for the day? We have one to help unload some goods for a store, or there's another one to help with moving some furniture. You guys are known for doing those rather quickly, said the Hokage, and Naruto was just pouting. If you can call those mission, Bot-chan, muttered the boy loud enough for his teammates to hear him. Naruto-kun showed the Hokage some respect, said Sakura to the boy. Normally she would have tried to bop him in the head, but after she tried it a couple of times before, she discovered that the boy barely felt it, and that she ended up hurting her hand. It's just that when Kasumi-sensei told me we were doing missions, I expected something completely different, not glorified cords, said the boy, making Satsuki nod. I must say I agree with Naruto-sen, said the girl, causing Sakura to look at her wide-eyed. Hell must have frozen over, muttered the boy to himself. What was that, Namikaze? Asked Satsuki, narrowing her eyes at the boy, who raised his hands innocently. Well, all of you should know this, but you are currently doing D-rank missions. You need an amount of successful missions before you can start taking C-ranked and higher level missions to be sure you're all ready for any situation you can face in the field, explained Itsuko, and Sakura nodded fervently at the woman's explanation. So we're stuck doing chores for Kami knows how long, trailed off Naruto in a defeated voice. Well, Naruto-kun, you only need a couple more, is not that long. However, I have here a C-rank that your team may be able to do. What do you call, Kasumi? Think they're ready? Said the Hokage, and both Naruto and Satsuki turned to look at her with the infamous puppy eyes. Kasumi raised an eyebrow. Seeing such expression in Satsuki's face was something new. I think it would be a good experience for them, said the making the Hokage nod at her. I see. Itsuko, could you please call the client? And Itsuko looked like she wanted to protest against them taking that mission, but said nothing, and obeyed the older woman. A moment later, an old man entered the office, holding a jug, and obviously drunk. After a moment of looking at the three teams, the man huffed. This is the team that's supposed to protect me. They don't look like much, to be honest. And that's a weird-looking girl if you ask me, said the man while pointing at Naruto, who summoned his hammer to his hand and threatened the man. Lem at him. Lem tell him, I said, yelled the boy while Kasumi and Sakura tried to hold him back. Well, Tazuna-san, even if they are just genin, I assure you that they are qualified for a mission of this rank. And just so you know, Naruto-kun here is a boy, explained the Hokage, silently amused at Naruto's reaction. Funny, I thought all the ninjas were females, said the man, eyeing Naruto, as if examining him. He is not exactly a ninja, but the same as the girls, he is more than capable of handling any situation that you can find on this mission, said the Hokage, causing Naruto to smile proudly to the trust that the Hokage had in him. Now girls and boys, go to your places and gather supplies for an extended mission. I'll give you the details of the mission in the main gate, from where we'll leave, said Kasumi to the trio, who nodded and went separate ways. An hour and a half later, Sakura and Satsuki were waiting impatiently for their sensei to arrive. Naruto had changed his armor into travel mode and was talking happily to the Kunoichis watching the entrance. A few moments later, Kasumi could be seen half dragging Tazuna to the gate. I must admit, Sensei, I expected you to be on time at least for this kind of missions, said Naruto in a chiding tone. Hey, I had to drag our client here just because he drank too much, responded Kasumi, and the boy just glared at the drunk man. Once they leave the gate, they started to walk. Sakura looked at Naruto, who was waving at the chunins in the gate. Friends of yours? Asked Sakura, curious at the relationship between them. No, it's just that they said they used to take care of me when I was a baby. Apparently babysitting me was a really popular D-rank mission back in the day, said Naruto happily, and Sakura giggled at him. Oh yes, I remember that. There were even catfights between teams to take that mission, said Kasumi with a chuckle of her own. At that time she was an Anbu, so she didn't had to take that mission, but sometimes she was under the charge of supervising the teams that took care of the boy. The group was walking at a very slow pace because of Tazuna, who was still drunk. Fortunately, the man's sake had run out, so they only needed to wait for the effect to wear off, and they could pick up the pace a little bit, but Naruto was getting a little antsy. It was his first time outside Konoha's walls after all. So where are we going exactly, Kasumi-sensei? Asked Naruto curiously. We are going to the land of waves. Apparently Tazuna-san here is a famous builder, and he was concerned that bandits could attack him, so this is classified as an escort mission. We're going to be protecting him until he finishes building a bridge. Isn't that right, Tazuna-san? Kasumi asked at the old man, who gave a slurred answer that sounded affirmative. After a few hours of walking, Naruto was getting bored. The excitement of going away from the village already left him. Kasumi was walking silently behind the group, reading her pink book besides Tazuna. In front of them were Satsuki and Sakura, who were trying to make conversation with the other girl just to be ignored. Naruto was walking in front of them, looking at his surroundings. Lots of trees, some rocks, a puddle of water, nothing out of the ordinary in the boy's opinion. Naruto turned around to ask something to Kasumi just in time to see the woman get torn to pieces by some kind of chain. After that, two women came into view, both of them wearing a mask that covered their mouths, and on their heads a forehead protector with the symbol of another village scratched. Taking a quick look, Naruto saw the remains of a cut log where Kasumi's body should be. So little relieved, he took his shield from his back and hoisted his hammer in a defensive position, Satsuki and Sakura also getting in position. "How look at the boy trying to play ninja. Let's take him out first," said one of the women to the other, who nodded, and both jumped at the boy trying to cut him with the bladed chain. Seeing the incoming attack, Naruto ducked and covered himself with his shield, the chain passing harmlessly over it. Seeing an opening, Satsuki threw a shuriken at the chain, and it got stuck in the trunk of a tree. Seeing that their weapon was caught, the two enemy ninjas activated something in the gauntlets that had the chain connected, and it released, separating the two women. One of them went to attack Sakura, who was in front of Tazuna. Once the woman was close enough, Sakura threw a pair of at her, but she just turned her body to a side, letting the weapon fly besides her. Unfortunately, this put her in the range of a flying hammer that impacted her squarely in the back of her head, knocking her out instantly. Satsuki was faring well with her opponent, but she was quickly losing ground to the enemy Kunoichi. Just before what was going to be a direct hit on the girl's chest, the light surrounded her body, and she fell on the ground unharmed. Then Kasumi appeared behind the enemy ninja, and after a quick chop to the neck, the woman fell knocked out cold. "Excellent teamwork, guys," said Kasumi, grabbing the unconscious ninjas and tied them to a tree. "Thank you, Sensei. Now if you girls excuse me," said Naruto, silently changing his armor to casual mode and lifting it over his shoulders. Then, shocking Sakura a little, he started removing his shirt, revealing a nasty gash on his chest. "Naruto-kun, what happened?" asked Sakura, shocked to see the boy wounded. He didn't get that close to the enemy ninjas to receive that kind of wound. Hell, he had his chest plate on him the whole time. "When Satsuki was fighting, I saw that she was going to get hit, so I used my martyrsm tech on her, and took the damage myself," explained Naruto, while Sakura took out some bandages, and tried to start treating the boy's wound, but he raised a hand to stop her. "Wait a moment, Sakura-chan. There's a thing I want to try out," said the boy with his eyes closed. After concentrating for a moment, he flexed the muscles on his chest, and a blue hue surrounded him. To the surprise of the group, his wounds started closing at a very fast rate until nothing but dry blood remained on him. "That was really impressive, Naruto-kun. What technique was that?" asked Kasumi at Naruto, who shook his head. "It was not a tech. It was one of the guardian runes that I have on me," said the boy, while turning around to show them his back. It was full of the symbols that the girls saw on his hammer. "An armor, one of those lines, grants me advanced regeneration automatically. But if I have a big wound, and for some reason I can't cast a solar blessing to heal myself, I can channel some mana into the wound, and it works like you saw. Others give me some other perks, like the first line that I have since I started training with Ragnell Sensei. It helps with my growth, and each line does lots of other things just by having them there. That's a really useful, Naruto-kun, but could you please put your shirt back on?" asked Sakura with her face red, trying not to stare too much at the state of undress of the boy, who looked at her wondering what was wrong with her, but shrugged and put his shirt back on, followed by the armor. "Are you sure you are okay with Naruto-kun? Those two are known as the demonic sisters, and they have the habit of poisoning their weapons," said Kasumi, a little concerned for the boy. "Don't worry, Sensei. The martyrdom makes it so that secondary effects don't affect me like poisoned weapons, electrified weapons, or burns of heated weapons. Even if it didn't, I have a rune array that makes me immune to most poisons," explained Naruto, and Kasumi nodded, and told him that if he felt weird, he was to tell her immediately. "Now we have to interrogate these two," said Kasumi, looking at the two kunoichis tied to the tree. Giving them a couple of not-so-gentle slaps, the demonic sisters jolted just to find themselves trapped, and started cursing at the dot. After asking them a couple of questions, and punching them in the stomach, they still refused to talk. Kasumi started to wonder if she had to use more severe methods when Naruto talked. "Sensei, if you let me, I want to try something that Kiba gave me," said Naruto, surprising Kasumi, who thought about it for a second, but nodded afterwards, allowing the boy to continue. Naruto put his hand over his glove, and after a spark of light, he had a syringe on his hand. Holding it, he stood in front of the sisters. "What I have here is a serum made by one of my friends." He said something about how it blocks the creative centers of the brain, and something about some chemical that makes you blurt the first thing that comes to your head, and some other things. Basically is a truth serum and all, but named. However, my friend has just learned how to make it, and since he has no test subjects, we don't know if it works. He told me that there's a 50% chance of it working, while the other 50% is that your heart accelerates, and then you die from a cardiac arrest. "I'm going to inject this in one of you, so you can either talk now or you can try your luck, and you tell us what we want to know anyway or die." "Your choice," said the boy to the tied women, but neither said anything, just glared at the boy, as if daring him. Kasumi sent a look into Naruto's direction, who turned around and winked at the woman mischievously. Since none of them wanted to talk, Naruto injected the liquid in one of the women, and waited. After a while, it seemed like nothing happened to her, so Naruto told Kasumi to interrogate her again to see if it worked. "What are your names?" asked Kasumi to the one that Naruto had injected. "We are Jiza and Mei," said the woman, immediately looking surprised at herself. "What are your ranks?" "We're both ex-shunin from Kiri." The woman looked confused at the words that she said. "What color are the panties you're wearing right now?" asked Kasumi, drawing an undignified squawk from Sakura and a chuckle from Naruto. I'm not wearing any panties, said the woman, now looking embarrassed and confused. May, what the hell? Asked the other woman at her sister. I find wearing panties uncomfortable, said the other woman, looking even more confused. Not that idiot, why are you answering her questions? I don't know. I meant to tell her to fuck off, and the words came out alone. It looks like it worked, Naruto-kun, said Kasumi happily. After that the woman tried to stay silent, but some well-placed punches from Kasumi opened her mouth again. They learned that they were on a mission to assassinate Tazuna, under the command of Tsubumi Mamachi. Mei also told them that they were supposed to intercept the old man in the road to Wave, and they were given no more information. So Tazuna-san, it seems that you didn't have just bandits to worry about, but trained ninja assassins. Care to tell us if you knew something about this? Asked Kasumi in a sickly sweet tone to the builder, who got very nervous and scared. After feeling the killer intent flow from the woman, Tazuna got on his knees and begged for mercy. He then told the group the story of Gato, the commercial tyrant that had taken control of the country using his money and gangs of mercenaries, and how he finishing his bridge was the only way to revitalize the country. I see, Tazuna-san, but if you knew that Gato was targeting you, why you didn't commission a higher rank mission? You would have gotten better ninjas to protect you, asked Kasumi, and the man just looked even more depressed. It's just that our country is in such a state that a C rank was the only thing we could afford, even after we put all our money together, said Tazuna, causing Kasumi to sigh. Well, I can understand your situation, Tazuna-san. You lied to us about the mission parameters, and, as right now we don't have any obligation to continue with it, said the woman, shocking the three teens, and Tazuna looked ready to break down crying. You can't possibly be asking us to abandon this people when they most need it, Kasumi-sensei. Asked Naruto in a disbelieving tone to Kasumi. You see, Naruto-kun, well, I was very impressed by the way you three managed yourselves against those two. Tsubumi Mamachi is known as the Demon of the Bloody Mist, a rank missing nin from Kiri. She's on another whole level from what you just faced. I don't know if you are ready for this. I'm sorry, Kasumi-sensei, but I'm not turning my back on someone that needs help so desperately. That's part of my guardian oath, and I will not back out, said Naruto, frustrating the woman. Kasumi took a deep breath and looked at her other two students. What do you two think about his? Asked the woman to the girls who were silent during the whole exchange. I'm with Naruto-kun. We can't just abandon this people if we can make something about it, said Sakura in a confident tone. I kind of want to go ahead. If this Tsubumi is as strong as you say, it will be a chance to push my limits, said Satsuki, and Kasumi gave a defeated sigh. Okay, we'll go ahead with this madness then, but if we happen to find Zabuza, I will be the one fighting her, and you shall not interfere. Be sure to be alert at all times, and Naruto-kun, have your detect active at all times. Do you all understand? Asked Kasumi at the trio, who nodded their head, and Tazuna was thanking them teary-eyed. Now, I'll send a message to Konoha to get these two arrested, and we'll be on our way, said the woman, pointing at the two Kunoichis that were still tied to the tree, and were saying a string of colorful curses. By the way, Naruto-kun, said Kasumi once they were a good distance ahead from where they left the ninjas tied, would that thing that you injected may actually killed her? Well, yeah, there was a chance, but I exaggerated it a little bit, said the boy with a smirk. The actual chance of the serum working was 75%, and her chances of dying were 5% only. The remaining 20% were other symptoms like nausea, diarrhea, headaches, and other things like that. Kasumi stayed silent, but took note to talk about this serum to a certain head of the T&I department. She was also reflecting if this was a good idea, as the fight that was undoubtedly ahead of them was not easy. After an uneventful boat trip, a bridge that was missing a part came into sight. Wow, is it the bridge you're building, old man? Asked Naruto, amazed by the size of it. Yes, kid, that right there is our hope and freedom, said Tazuna, proud of his work. After they left the boat, the ninjas plus a guardian and an old man started walking in the direction of Tazuna's house. Naruto had changed his armor to power mode, and a blue pulse could be seen going around the ground. He was walking every few seconds. After walking for a few moments, Naruto went stiff for a second, and Satsuki threw a shuriken at a bush. It was just a bunny, said Sakura, watching the critter jump out of the bush, scared by the throwing weapon. Sensei, my detect tech says otherwise. It was definitely a human that was hiding in there, said Naruto, while Kasumi just narrowed her eye, and after a moment it opened wide. Get down, yelled the woman, taking Tazuna with her, and the teens just threw themselves at the ground, while a huge object flew over them, and impacted a tree behind the group. TSK, it looks like I missed, said a tall woman standing on a giant sword that was half buried in the trunk of a tree. The woman had black hair that reached just over her shoulders, and was wearing a blue sleeveless shirt that showed her shoulders and midriff. She also had long fingerless gloves that covered her arm up to her well-formed biceps. She also wore blue baggy pants, and on her face bandages covered half of her face, very much like Kasumi's mask. Naruto noticed that her shirt was a little tight, and showed that the woman had good assets, but shook his head quickly, and concentrated. If that woman was who he thought she was, things were going to get ugly. Tsubumi Mamachi, the Demon of the Bloody Mist, guys defensive formation around Tazuna, said Kasumi without taking her eyes off Tsubumi, and the trio got into position around the older man. Zabumi just giggled from her position. Why, it's an honor that the famous Sharingan Kasumi knows old little me, said Zabumi, shocking Satsuki a little. Now, if you would be so kind to hand over that old man over there, then I'll be on my way, said the woman in a happy tone, as a child asking for a candy. I'm sorry, but you see, it's kind of our mission to protect the old man, so we can't hand him just like that, you know, said Kasumi in a lazy tone. None of the women lose their stance while speaking, making the teens wonder what kind of face they were doing under their masks. I see how it is, then I have no more option than to kill you all. Kurigaku no jutsu, said Zabumi, making a symbol with her hands, and first a light mist covered the area, but it quickly became a heavy fog that blocked the group's vision. Larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular, subclavian artery, kidneys, and heart, so many points to strike yet not enough targets. The group heard the voice of Zabuza that somehow came from everywhere, and the giggles of the woman would be in the nightmares of some of them that night. Kasumi lifted her forehead protector, revealing her Sharingan eye. Oh, to see the Sharingan so early in this fight, but can you fight what you can't see, Kasumi? Asked the woman, and the teens looked a little shaken. Naruto, trying to do something, raised his hammer in front of him. Brilliant son, cast your warmth upon us, said Naruto in a calm voice that carried an echo, and his hammer took a red glow, and a wave of heat surrounded the group, causing the nearby mist to dissipate. It wasn't enough to see where Zabumi was, but it gave the group some distance of visibility. The boy with some tricks, that's interesting. I thought he was one of those ninja one-ups that were pure muscle. Should I take you out first? Asked the voice of Zabumi while the group tried to see where she was coming from. After a moment, Kasumi saw a movement in the edge of her vision. Naruto, watch out, yelled the woman at the boy, who managed to see the giant blade coming at him, and raise his shield to intercept the blow. The sword collided with the shield with a loud clunk, the force of the impact making him fall on his ass. Taking the opportunity, Kasumi launched herself at Zabumi with a kunai in her hand, engaging her into jutsu. After exchanging a couple of blows, Kasumi managed to stab Zabumi with her kunai, but instead of blood, water came out from the wound, revealing her as a water clone. As soon as the clone exploded in water, Zabumi appeared behind Kasumi, her sword raised ready to strike. When Zabumi struck with her sword, the shape of Kasumi exploded in the water, shocking her by wondering when she copied the clone technique. The battle continued like this for a while, until Zabumi managed to hit Kasumi in the gut with the blunt side of her sword, sending her into some water. When Kasumi tried to climb out of the water, she realized that the water was too heavy. She widened her eyes when she realized that she was trapped. Zabumi giggled maliciously at Kasumi's expression. Now that you're taken care of, it's just a matter of getting rid of your kids. The mist cleared, revealing Kasumi trapped in some kind of water. The woman made several water clones appear, and sent them after the teens. Take Tazuna, and run. Her clones can only go a certain distance away from her. Take him, and go, yelled Kasumi at her team, but none of the teens made to retreat. Sorry, Sensei, but I'm not one to leave no one behind, said Naruto, putting on a brave face, and twirling his hammer, as he got into an offensive stance. Sakura kept her defensive position in front of Tazuna, in case that one of the clones sneaked by. Satsuki, with a kunai in her hand, dispelled a couple of the water clones, in an impressive display of her speed, while Naruto got purposely in a position where he was surrounded by 5 of the clones. When the clones went to attack him, he took the handle of his hammer with both hands, and the head of his weapon cracked with electricity. Mjolnir's blessing. Berserker barrage, yelled Naruto while spinning at a great speed, dispelling all the clones around him. When his rotation was about to finish, Naruto used his momentum to throw his hammer at where Zabumi was standing on the water. The woman managed to sidestep to dodge the flying hunk of metal, but in doing so she got herself in the way of a ball of fire courtesy of Satsuki. Without any other choice, Zabumi leaped away, and freed Kasumi, who instantly went to attack her. After some time trading blows, Zabumi leaped away from Kasumi, and started going through hand seals. Kasumi imitated the same seals perfectly. Tsuyuda no Jutsu called both women at the same time, making 2 giant dragons made of water raise, and collided each other in a big explosion of water. Dabakufu no Jutsu was the only thing Zabumi heard before a huge wave of water hit her, and sent her flying. When she landed, she was too hurt to even get on her feet, and Kasumi approached her ready to finish her off. Tell me, Kasumi, can you see the future? Asked Zabumi with a pained voice. Yes, and your future is dead, said Kasumi, ready to deliver the final strike just for a pair of to hit the fallen woman on the neck, and she dropped dead on the floor. Thank you, Kasumi-san. I have been following her for some time now, said a figure dressed in a green hiyori, and had a white mask with the symbol of Kiri engraved on it. You kind of stole my kill there, Hunter-san, said Kasumi, lazily watching the ninja take the body of Zabuza. Yes, and I'm sorry, but I don't want to take any risks. Now if you excuse, I shall take my leave, said the hunter-nin, and disappeared in a shunshin. Kasumi covered her eye with the forehead protector once again, and turned to look at the group. Well guys, good work, now let's continue towards Tazuna's house. Also Naruto, would you be so kind to carry me? I'm about to collapse. Just as Kasumi said it, she hit the ground unconscious. Mjolnir's blessing. Retrieval, said Naruto calmly, causing lightning to hit the ground beside him, and his hammer to appear after it. Taking his hammer, and sealing it into the runes of his glove, he went, and lifted the shape of his sensei in a bridal style. After a while of following Tazuna's directions, a house came into the view of the group. Tazuna knocked on the door a few times, and a young woman opened the door hugging the old man. "Dad, you're back." "I was so worried," said happily the woman. "Yes, I'm back, and you can thank these four behind me for that," said Tazuna, pointing at the teens. The woman bowed to the trio. "Thank you very much for protecting my father. My name is Tsunami. Please come inside." That was when she noticed Naruto carrying the unconscious form of Kasumi Okami. "Is she okay?" asked Tsunami, concerned for the woman. "Yeah, I'm okay, just tired because of the chakra exhaustion," said Kasumi, extending her arms and hugging Naruto around the neck, scaring the boy who almost dropped her. "Sensei, are you awake?" asked Naruto, red from embarrassment because Kasumi had started snuggling on his neck. "Yeah, but I'm barely conscious, and I don't think I can walk. But you don't mind carrying your sensei a little more, do you?" asked Kasumi in a lazy tone, while Naruto just stood there not knowing what to do. Sakura and Satsuki just sweat-dropped to Kasumi's antics. "Tsunami-san, if you would be so kind as to show us a place where Naruto-kun can drop our sensei," asked Sakura politely, and the woman ushered the group inside the house. After laying Kasumi in a futon in one of the rooms of the house, Kasumi talked to her students. "Now I have barely enough chakra to be awake, which is a miracle. I should still be unconscious. Did you have anything to do with that, Naruto-kun?" "Well, sensei, my armor has a minor regeneration, or I suppose it helped a little." "I see, maybe you should sleep with me to help me heal faster, Naruto-kun," said Kasumi, causing Naruto's face to become crimson and shocking Sakura. Satsuki just blushed a little at the woman's insinuation. Seeing the looks on their faces, Kasumi giggled. Now Naruto-kun, you should not get embarrassed so easily. Since you're a boy, an enemy Kunoichi may try to flirt with you to make you drop your guard. You must be prepared to deal with that kind of situation. Anyway, I should be able to stand by tomorrow, and then we will begin to train for our battle," said the woman, drawing curious looks from the teens. "Battle? But all that's left is to wait for Tazuna to complete his bridge, since that hunter nin killed Tsubumi," said Naruto, and Kasumi shook her head. "I'm afraid that it's probable that Tsubumi didn't die. The hunter nin used to attack her, and decided to carry the whole body with her, instead of cutting the head off, and disposing of the rest, as is the protocol," said Kasumi, causing an understanding expression past Sakura's face. "They're very difficult to use, but in good hands can be used to cripple an enemy very effectively. It's possible to even put someone in a dead-like state with them," said the girl, while Kasumi nodded at her explanation. "So it's very probable that the hunter nin was Zabumi's accomplice, and that using the she made us think that she killed her in order to take her away. So she may return," concluded Satsuki, making Kasumi nod at her. "Well, now that you guys know the situation, we'll start training as soon as I'm able to stand again. For tonight I want you to stand guard in case Gato sends someone to attack the house, so I trust that you can manage the shifts yourselves. Now let me sleep for a while." As soon as Kasumi ended her phrase, her eyes shut, and light snoring could be heard coming from her, making the trio sweat drop. The next day in the breakfast, they were introduced to Inari, Tsunami's son, who kept his head low all the time, and when he finished eating returned to his room without saying a word. They saw how Tsunami looked at him sadly, and after asking, Tazuna told them how Kaiza, who was Inari's surrogate father, was killed when he tried to stand against Gato, and that it made the boy lose hope completely. It wasn't until later that day that Kasumi woke up, saying that was fine, but still felt weak. Naruto tried to use his solar blessing on her. The good news was that Kasumi didn't feel sore anymore. The bad news was that she still was weakened, because her chakra reserves were still almost empty. After a while, Kasumi took the three to a clearing. "Well girls, I have a new exercise for you too. We're going to climb trees," said Kasumi happily, while the girls wondered what Kasumi was talking about. Seeing the confused look on them, Kasumi just walked up to a tree and put her feet on the trunk. Then, to the shock of the trio watching, she put her other feet on the trunk and started walking upwards casually. After going up a little bit further, she walked back down and gave a bow, as if finishing the show. This exercise requires that you channel chakra to your feet and stick to the tree's trunk. It's a little and nothing happens, but you don't want to get too much either. Now take out a kunai and mark your progress. Get to it, finished Kasumi, and both of the girls started doing what she told them. "That's very cool, sensei. It's like that how you walked on the water when you were fighting Zabumi?" asked Naruto, making Kasumi shake her head. "It's the same principle, but the application is somewhat different. Now Naruto-kun, I don't know what I can do with you. It's obvious that I can't teach you any, and I don't think I'm an adequate sparring partner given my state, so why don't you run some laps or train your muscles?" "Don't worry, sensei, before coming here Ragnell sensei taught me a new trick that I haven't used too much." Naruto took a few steps backwards, and got surrounded by light armor change tech. "Speed mode," said the boy in an echoing voice, after the light dispersed an armor that Kasumi hadn't seen neither on the boy nor on Ragnell appeared on him. While the other armors looked bulky on him, this one looked almost skin-tight, delineating the muscles on his body. The only things that looked like armor were on his knees, elbows, shoulders, and his hands that still looked like armor gloves. Also on his back, forearms, and calves were some kind of protrusions with holes pointing downwards. On his head he had a round helmet that covered all of it, and had a clear part allowing his eyes and nose to be seen. His hammer and shield were on him. The armor had a dark yellow color. "Now check this out, sensei," said Naruto excitedly, and got into a running position. From his armor, a weird noise could be heard for a moment, and then blue flames came out from the holes of the armor's back and legs, causing Naruto to launch forwards at an incredible speed face first on a tree. That was the tree where Sakura was practicing on, but luckily once she and Satsuki had seen the light when Naruto had changed his armor, they decided to stop and watch him just in time to see his head get half buried in the tree's trunk. Sakura freaked out and went to help him, and Satsuki snickered at the boy's misfortune. After Kasumi and Sakura managed to remove Naruto's hat from the tree, the boy was questioned about his new armor. Well, this is my speed armor. As you saw, it allows me to send bursts of mana out from these holes, and I get a lot of speed and some power. It's really light, but fragile compared to the other armors. Exactly how fragile are we talking about? Asked Kasumi, wondering if he could receive damage with that armor. Like regular steel, fragile, responded the boy, surprising Kasumi a little. From what she had seen with Ragnell's armor, it didn't even get scratched by the strongest attacks. He's saying that this armor was as hard as regular steel meant that, well, it still could protect him from shurikens, and if someone with enough strength like Zabuza were to hit him, he could get injured if he couldn't dodge the attacks. Ragnell Sensei said that once I got the walking part done, I could try to get better jumps by using short bursts of mana. Also, Ragnell Sensei said that with more training, I could use this armor to glide a couple of inches over the ground or water, said Naruto excitedly. I think you should first get the running part down before you try anything else, Naruto-kun, said Kasumi, making the boy pout, and Sakura giggled at his expression. While Sakura and Satsuki kept working on the tree walking exercise, Naruto tried to get a feel on how much mana he should use to get the speed he wanted. After actually taking down a couple of trees when he crashed against them, the boy started showing some improvement, and since it was getting dark, Kasumi told them to return to Tazuna's house. Once they reached the house, Tsunami told them that the dinner was ready, and so they went to eat at the table. While eating, Naruto and Sakura were animatedly talking about their training, mostly Naruto bragging about his armor, which he had changed back to casual mode in order to eat, and suddenly Inari stood from his table looking at them with furious eyes. Why are you even trying? Don't you know that you will all die for trying to stand against Geto? You are not going to be heroes, you are just going to be dead, yelled the kid at the ninjas, who looked shocked at his outburst. Naruto looked at him and talked in a gentle voice. Inari-san, you think that I'm here just because I want to be a hero? No, I'm here because your grandfather told us about the situation in this country. I couldn't just do anything. It's my duty as a guardian to help, no matter what. The kid got even angrier at Naruto's words. So you don't care that you are just going to die? Once I asked Ragnell Sensei that if a complete stranger was in danger, and the only way to save him was risking his own life, will he try to save him? He told me yes, I would, and I would do it with a smile on my face, because that's what being a guardian is about, protecting people even at the cost of our own lives. So yes, Inari-san, even if there's a chance that I will die, I will not back down, and I will try to help you all, even if it costs me my own life. You can be sure about that, Dadabayo. After Naruto finished talking, the boy just stood in front of him wide-eyed for a while, then, without saying a word, turned around and left the room. Nobody said anything, but all the people in the room gained a newfound respect for Naruto that day. The next day, Tsunami wanted to do some shopping, leaving Satsuki and Kasumi to train with Naruto. The boy, not wanting to accidentally hit a tree near where Satsuki was training, decided to go in another direction. It was at this time that we could find a dark-haired girl wearing a pink kimono walking around the forest with a basket looking for herbs. Just when the girl was about to crouch to pick an herb, a yellow blur passed inches in front of her face and crashed in a nearby tree, making it fall with a loud crash. The girl approached where the yellow object had crashed cautiously, and she discovered that it was a person with some kind of yellow armor. The person then started to move and groaned in pain. The girl couldn't see the person's face because of the helmet he had, and only could see a pair of blue eyes. "Are you okay?" asked the girl, crouching to help Naruto. "Yes, don't worry. That's the first one I had today," said the boy happily about that, making the girl confused. "Are you taking down trees, stranger?" asked the girl curiously, making Naruto chuckle. "No, I'm training to use this armor better, and where are my manners?" "Excuse me for a second," said the boy, and wordlessly changed his armor to casual mode. Once the girl saw Naruto's face, she had to surprise a gasp, as she recognized him as the boy with the hammer from Zabuza's fight. "My name is Naruto, can I ask your name?" he said happily, and the girl was a little relieved that he hadn't recognized her voice. "I'm Haku, nice to meet you." "Naruto-san, you say you were training, are you a ninja?" "I've never met a shinobi before," said the girl, and Naruto chuckled again. "No, I'm not a ninja. I'm known as a guardian. I use something called mana instead of chakra, so while I can use techniques, mine are different from the ones the ninjas use," explained the boy, making Haku nod. "So why are you training, Naruto-san?" "There's a very strong ninja that's hired by a man named Geto who is terrorizing this country, and in order to help them my team has to defeat her, so I need to get stronger to have a chance." "I see. Say, Naruto-san, do you have someone that's precious to you?" asked Haku, making Naruto nod. Yes, I have friends that I can say are precious to me. Even my team right now I can say they're part of my precious people, said Naruto, making Haku smile at him. That's very good, Naruto-san. It's said that if you fight thinking about your precious people, it's when you're the strongest, she said, and Naruto nodded in agreement. That's also what my sensei says, so I always fight to protect my precious people no matter what. Then you shall become strong. Now if you excuse me, I was picking herbs for a friend, and I must be on my way. Goodbye, Naruto-sen, said Haku, and Naruto waved at her happily. Once she left, Naruto returned to bump on some more trees. The week has passed since the fight between Zabumi and Satsuki. Sakura and Kasumi were going to the bridge with Tazuna. The girls had completed the tree walking exercise, and Kasumi was worried that Zabumi was going to attack soon. Naruto was still sleeping since yesterday he had hit a rock instead of a tree head first, and had a bleeding wound on his head. They were worried since none of them could take out his helmet, but the bleeding stopped after a few minutes, and they hoped that he could heal naturally, thus they hadn't tried to awake him that morning. It was until a couple of hours after they left that Naruto woke up hearing some screams in the house. Recognizing one of the voices as Tsunami's, he quickly ran to where he heard the voices. Arriving at the kitchen, he saw two men, some kind of swordsmen, judging by their weapons, and one of them had grabbed Tsunami, and the other one had his sword pointed at Inari's neck, while the boy was on the ground with a knife on his hand, and a nasty-looking bruise on his face. Naruto looked at this, and then at himself, realizing that he still was in his speed armor mode. Deciding to take a risk, he sent a burst of mana into his armor, and launched himself at the man that was threatening Inari. Tsunami and Inari just looked in wonder, as a yellow blur crashed into one of the men, and then against the wall, the swordsman taking the full brunt of the hit. The other swordsman, shocked, couldn't react in time, as Naruto raised his fist, and a blue flame erupted from the propeller on his right forearm, sending his fist against the man's face, snapping his body backwards. The man fell on the ground knocked out cold, a lot of blood pouring out from his nose. It's a miracle that I didn't kill him, said Naruto, a little relieved, while he and Tsunami tied the two unconscious men in case they woke up again. Naruto asked for his team, and when Tsunami told him that they went to the bridge, he went wide-eyed, told them to remain safe, and took off in the direction of the bridge. When Naruto reached the bridge, and saw the heavy fog that covered the bridge, he grimaced, and changed his armor to power mode, and unsealed his hammer and shield. He raised his hammer in front of him. Brilliant sun, cast your warmth upon us, as he called calmly, and once again his hammer took a red glow, but he noticed that this time the dispelled fog was less than before. Using his hammer as a torch and his ear, he started venturing through the fog. After a while, he saw some shapes ahead of him. Once he got closer, he saw the face of a relieved Sakura and a scared Tazuna. Naruto-kun, you came, said Sakura in a low voice, trying to reveal her position. Sensei is in that way fighting Zabumi, and Satsuki is in that way fighting that hunter nin from before. The girl tried to explain the situation, and Naruto nodded. Okay, stay here watching Tazuna. I'll go ahead and help Satsuki. The girl nodded, and Naruto hurried in the direction she said. Once he arrived, he was surprised to see giant slabs of ice forming a circle. Looking through a space between the pieces of ice, he could see the shape of Satsuki covered from head to toes, unmoving on the ground. Seeing this, Naruto's eyes widened, and his whole body took a red hue. He raised his hammer that was glowing in an angry red tone, and hit one of the pieces of ice with it, shattering it instantly. He ran at Satsuki's fallen body, and took her in his arms. He removed one of his gloves, and touched her neck looking for a pulse, any signal of life in the girl, but found nothing. Was she a friend? I'm sorry it came to this, but it's my duty, as Bumi-sama, tool to do what's necessary to complete her mission. The hunter nin spoke calmly, and Naruto said nothing. Looking downwards, he placed Satsuki's body gently on the floor, and a dark red glow surrounded his body completely. His head snapped in the direction of the hunter nin, and an unnatural roar came out from him. The whisker-like marks on his face had deepened, and his eyes had turned red. Then he launched himself at the piece of mirror-like ice that the ninja was hiding in, and hit it with his hammer. The mirror exploded, as the hunter nin barely got out of it, the pieces vaporizing when they came in contact with the red glow, and the mirror couldn't reform. Using his hammer, he started breaking the rest of the mirrors in a berserk frenzy. When only one remained, he threw his hammer at it, hitting the hunter nin in the process, sending her flying away. Naruto roared, and leaped after her, catching her by the throat, and his other hand shaped in a fist, ready to cave her face in. That was when Naruto saw her face. The mask had broken when the hammer hit her, revealing a face familiar to Naruto, the face of Haku. "They Chaku-san-you?" asked Naruto in a sad and disbelieving tone, the red glow fading from him. "Hi Naruto-san, remember when we were talking about our precious people? Mine is Bumi-sama." Then Haku told Naruto how she had discovered that she had a bloodline, and how her father killed her mother, and then she killed him, and how Zabumi found her, and gave her a purpose in life, but now Naruto-san, I'm a broken tool. I don't have any purpose to live anymore. She was going to say something else, but the words died in her mouth as the mist cleared and revealed Yumi being held by a pack of dogs, and Kasumi who had a lot of lightings on her hand. I'm sorry Naruto-san, but it seems like there's one last thing I need to do, Shiran and Tsubini. And Naruto had a good idea of what she was about to do, and, as soon as she was going to put herself in front of Tsubumi, he extended his hand towards her. Bestowed upon you the power of the sun, Naruto yelled in an echoing voice. Kasumi launched herself at Tsubumi, Chidori in hand, intending to end her opponent once and for all, and she was shocked to see a girl put herself in front of Tsubumi, her hand piercing her heart. Imagine her surprise to see the girl's body turn into particles of light and reform herself next to Naruto, who was some distance away from her, and she didn't look wounded, just a part of her shirt had been destroyed, and pale flesh was in the place where the wound should have been. Tsubumi, taking advantage of Kasumi's shocked state, went to attack her, but since there was no mist anymore, Kasumi's Sharingan was at its fullest, and she managed to wound both of Obama's arms, rendering her unable to fight. Ha! It seems like the demon of the bloody mist was nothing more than a common bitch after all, said a voice from the edge of the bridge, and Tsubumi snapped her head in its direction. What are you doing here? Asked Tsubumi, anger in her voice. Well, since you weren't able to kill the old man, I came with my men to get the job done. Also, seeing as you lose, I can kill you too, and I'll not pay you then. Now men, kill them all, yelled the short man at the mob behind, and started approaching the ninjas. Well Kasumi, it looks like I don't have a reason to fight you anymore. However, I would like to have my revenge on the midget, said Tsubumi at Kasumi, who just nodded. Praise the sun, called Naruto calmly, and a bright light surrounded the area where Tsubumi and Kasumi were standing, and both of the women's wounds started healing, surprising Tsubumi, but more Kasumi. Naruto-kan, why are you, started saying Kasumi, but the boy interrupted her in a neutral tone. Zabuza, it was because of that man that this country is suffering. It's because of that man that we had to come to this mission, so it's because of that man that Satsuki died. Please send him to hell with my regards. The voice of the boy had no emotion in it, and Tsubumi just nodded. Picking her giant cleaver from the ground, she started slicing her way through the mob until she reached Gato. Using her sword, she slashed the short man in half, blood flying everywhere in a gruesome display. This angered the rest of the men, and they tried to mob Tsubumi. An arrow flew and hit one of the men in the leg, making him give a cry of pain, alerting the other men. Everyone turned to see that the people of the wave had come to the bridge in an impromptu army wielding all kinds of things as weapons. In the front of the crowd, Inari had a crossbow and fired an arrow, hitting another man in the arm. Seeing themselves outnumbered and with their boss dead, the gang of mercenaries fled, while the people cheered, for their suffering had came to an end. Well, it seems that everything is over now, said Kasumi, looking at the upper part of Gato's corpse. Yeah, I just wish that we hadn't lost Satsuki's life in exchange, said Naruto sadly. Naruto-san, your friend isn't dead. I hit her on non-vital spots. She is merely in the same state that I put Tsubumi-sama in the last time. Hearing Naruto's eyes widened, and she turned around to see Sakura already working on getting some of them out of Satsuki's body. After explaining to Sakura the situation, she allowed Haku to help her, and after a few moments the color returned to Satsuki's face, and she started breathing lightly. After Naruto casted a solar blessing over her, Satsuki opened her eyes and looked at Naruto. Somehow I think this was your fault, Naruto, said the girl weakly, but her tone carried a bit of sarcasm in it. Something like that, Satsuki-chan, responded the boy sheepishly. So I owe you two now. I better start working on that score, said the girl before falling unconscious again. Naruto chuckled, and Kasumi lifted Satsuki's body bridal style. Well, I think it's time for us to leave. You never know when a real hunter nin could come by when you have been in the same place for some time. Before we go, Naruto-san, how did you save me? I clearly felt Kasumi-san hand piercing my body. I should be dead at this moment, but I don't even have a wound. How? Asked Haku, looking in wonder at Naruto. I was kind of curious myself, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I pierced her heart or lung. I'm not sure which, but it should have instantly killed her, said Kasumi in a lazy tone, making the others in the group sweat drop at how casually she was saying that kind of things. That was one of the most powerful solar guardian techs I have. It's called the Rising Dawn Rebirth. It's a blessing kind of tech that I can put on an ally, and if that ally is mortally wounded while he has the blessing on him, his body transforms into solar essence, and then reforms next to me, healing him of the mortal wound. The Kanoichis were impressed that such kind of technique existed. But that means you could go to a war and return with no casualties, keeping them all alive by blessing them, said Haku, shocked. No, it doesn't work like that. It's a sacred tech, and it only works once per day, every time the sun raises, the same as its name. Even then, it's a formidable technique, Naruto-kan, said Kasumi, wishing she had such a technique some years ago. Well, I think we've chatted enough. Let's go, Haku. I wish you luck, Konoha ninja, and I hope we'll meet again on better terms, kid, said Tsubumi, looking at Naruto, who nodded at her. Goodbye, Naruto-kan, thanks for saving my life. After saying this, she took Naruto's face in her hands and gave him a kiss on the cheek, making the boy blush and stare dumbly at her. Waving at Naruto, Haku, and Tsubumi turned around and started walking away. After a few days, the bridge was completed, and Team 7 was ready to return to Konoha. After the death of Gato, not much had changed in the town, but the atmosphere was certainly different from before. Some bandits and thieves had tried to take advantage of the state of the town, but the ninjas, and even the villagers, sometimes had taken care of them. Now Team 7 was on the finished bridge ready to start their journey back to home. "Naruto Nai-san, am I going to see you again?" asked Inari, a little tearful at seeing the boy who had given him courage again leave. "If you ever need me again, Inari-san, I will come to help, but in the meanwhile you must protect your mom, your grandpa, and everyone who needs it, okay?" asked Naruto, and the boy nodded fervently. "I will protect them with my own 2 hands," said the boy bravely, and Naruto smiled at him. After getting goodbyes and shows of affection from the people that had came to the bridge to see them off, Team 7 started walking away from that bridge heading to Konoha. "So, how are we going to name the bridge?" asked Azuna to the gathered people, and started discussing amongst themselves. After some minutes, Azuna declared loudly, "Okay, it's decided then, in honor of the boy that gave us hope, and that illuminated our lives, as the sun he so much talks about, this shall be known as the Great Naruto Bridge." The villagers erupted in cheers at this, and the celebrations started. Kasumi, Satsuki, and Sakura were jumping on the tree branches at great speeds, while Naruto was on the ground donned in his speed mode armor a few feet ahead of them, blue flames blazing behind him. He was getting better at avoiding the trees. Then he started wondering if any of his future missions will be like the one he just had, and he started imagining what kind of adventures he would have. So distracted he was that it caused him to hit his shoulder against a tree branch, and lose his balance, sending him skidding through the forest. "You should pay more attention, Naruto-kun," chided lightly Kasumi, and Naruto just grunted with his head half buried in the ground. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.